Alright, we're back here again. Oh! This is Strange Real. Whoa! Okay. Okay, we just got a full confirmation then. There exists a different time loop, or a different timeline at that. Like the time loop isn't the same all of the time. It's just like how Adam says, right? Each iteration of the time loop adds to the previous one. Minor changes here and there.
Ein Weg, mich zu retten. Und dich. Um den Knoten am Ende zu lösen.
Untie the knot.
Jedes Schicksal in diesem Knoten ist geknüpft an das nächste.
Each fate is tied to the next, alright?
Rot wie Blut.
The red string of fate.
Du musst mich sterben lassen, damit ich leben kann.
Right?
Wir passen perfekt zusammen. Ich glaube niemals etwas anderes.
Wow. Using his words for him. Now, a part of me is thinking about, like, is it actually a different timeline? Or is it still the same timeline? Somehow. Even though it doesn't make any sense in the context of, like, what the show has already established in terms of, like, the rules of the time loop, right? Light and shadow. Okay. Back to her home. This is quite the day indeed. Day of the apocalypse. This music though, really adding into the suspense and the tension, like, yeah, it's now or never, right? Gonna wash your hands. Yeah. And we've seen this image before. I think we've seen most of her visions, right? If not all of them, right? The vision of Noah, and sorry, Jonas dying, to her washing the hands.
Is alles okay?
And we know that they are going to die, right, if nothing changes. Jonas and Claudia had time to prepare themselves, right, for the apocalypse. Martha, on the other hand, has no time at all. She needs to deal with all of this immediately. Great cut.
Whoa.
Did were the photos burned? Or kinda looks like it. Yeah.
Alles nimmt seinen Lauf. Für unsere Welt.
Always love that shot. Whenever we see characters looking at the Adam and Eve poster. Painting.
Eine Welt außerhalb von deiner und meiner
A
Welt.
world beyond your world and my world.
Unendliche Dunkelheit, in der nichts existiert. Muss die Apokalypse passieren. In meiner Welt
And in
und
yours.
in deiner.
Yeah. Is that the first time a character refers to Adam as Jonas? I'm getting the feeling that Adam is going to use that device to go travel to this world line, to Eve's world. Since obviously the device can travel between worlds, right? Trying to make sure that the apocalypse in this world succeeds.
Was machst du hier?
Ich wollte dir nur kurz was zeigen. Komm doch mal mit Peter vorbei.
The change in tone. Some things never change. In this case, Hannah is not in the wrong though. Even though technically Hannah kinda took Ulrich away from Katharina, but...
Als wäre der Pfennig irgendwie durch die Zeit gereist.
Yep. Charlotte always somehow figures it out.
Wo ist Helge jetzt?
Immer noch in Untersuchungshaft. Ulrich!
Helga is going to freak out once he sees Ulrich again. Figures. Wow. Cutting the bloodstains.
Wo warst du denn?
She's already wearing the clothes. It's time. She needs to get her hands on the time traveling device though. And this is going to be their last meeting as well. Wow. Oh, great cut. Oh. Was the light just a light, or is it actually the God particle, but now it's bright and not dark? Okay. It's like a sun. Whoa. It's almost as if like the God particle is like a black hole and now it condensed itself back into like a star. Yeah, you can even see like the plasma. Yeah. Interesting. Wait, who is this?
Jonas. Du lebst.
That's not... That's Stranger Jonas, wasn't it?
Die Weiche. Im Knotenpunkt der Zeitschleife.
That's right. The point. I talked about this.
Holst ihn in unsere Welt. Oder nicht? Zwei mögliche Wege. Auf der Außenkante der Linie oder auf der Innenkante der Linie.
Whoa, okay.
Und doch ist es dieselbe Linie.
And yeah, it is the same line.
Zwei sich überlappende Realitäten.
Overlapping realities, and that explains why Stranger Jonas is here. Because he is not from our reality, he is from a different reality.
Wiederholt sich in der Schleife.
Huh.
Wieder und wieder.
Okay, okay.
Quantenverschränkung.
Quantum entanglement. So I was kinda right when I said that the different realities is still part of the loop.
Der Apparat. Die Substanz, die er
Der
benötigt.
Apparat. Du hast ihn noch.
I love that we got to hear a bit of the Stranger's theme. We're kind of hearing it now. Literally, we are transitioning from Jonas to the Stranger, right? The music is kind of creeping in, trying to take control.
Dein älteres Ich. Sie wusste, dass Martha stirbt.
Oh man, I love this, I love this, I love this. This is interesting. I mean, I am assuming that this is Stranger Jonas, right? There's no other explanation.
Ich kann dir helfen, Martha zu retten. Alle zu retten.
This is wild.
Eine eigenartige Substanz entstanden. Und dein Vater hat geholfen, das alles zu vertuschen.
Dude, she is shaking. She has no time. She is trying her best to save everyone.
Die Apokalypse.
Is Bartosz going to believe her? Knowing his affection towards Martha, right? Don't freak out. He's gonna freak out, obviously. What I said kind of applies to both of them.
Ich muss sie stoppen. Wen stoppen?
Him? The unknown?
Dich.
Stop Ulrich in what regard? Traveling back to the past? That would eventually cause Helge to be this way? Just like in our timeline, in the original timeline? I mean, that is the only explanation, right? Considering Helge knows Ulrich. Same response, you're alive and everything. And obviously Ulrich has not traveled yet.
Und dieser Jonas ist jetzt tot. Und du hast ihn umgebracht.
Yeah,
Also nicht du, sondern...
It's a lot to take in, Bartosz, yep. It's a lot to take in. At least he's taking the time to listen to her, right? Unlike Magnus, who just brush her off. He's gonna try. Ah, Boris. Damn it, Alexander, damn it. The blackmail, though. Oh, he's... Ah, damn it.
Alexander.
It's happening again. I mean, it has to. Are they gonna travel to the power plant? Make sure that everything goes exactly as planned? The unknown is going to give that device to Martha. Our Martha, I mean. Not our Martha, I mean the Martha that is currently about to travel back in time, right? Is this where she's going to get the scar on her face? Oh. Yeah. Spending the last days, last hour together. Bartos in the back? Oh no, Martha in the back. Alright, Bartos, let's go! We're playing the theme of the unknown as well.
Ich weiß, das klingt verrückt, aber das Gleiche ist mit der Leiche im Bunker passiert. Lass einen DNA-Test machen.
Wow, this is exactly how... There's a couple of lines that are obviously the same lines as the ones that he said. I can't recall if it's like exactly 1-to-1, but that's cool. Oh, and this is our Magnus and Franziska.
Kannst du dir das nicht denken?
What is going on?
Magnus?
She recognizes him immediately.
Der Zukunft.
Aber nicht aus deiner.
Yeah. I mean, this is the perfect way for Bartosz to believe her.
Sie sind diejenigen, die dafür verantwortlich sind, dass sie passiert.
And they're telling her.
Aber du musst dich für unsere Welt entscheiden. Und ihm vertrauen.
Mm.
Du kannst nicht stoppen, was hier passiert. Aber wenn du mit uns kommst.
He's the one who gave it. Okay. Does this mean that Magnus and Franziska are either going to die or they're going to travel back in time with the unknown? Because the unknown has the device as well. Take it. It's your destiny. It's already determined.
Gehört zu den anderen.
He is supposed to die.
Sie werden ihn retten.
They? Oh, okay. The unknown is going to say Bartosz. They're gonna go together. The three of... Okay. You just saw your friend disintegrate.
Dieser Knoten hat uns allen das Leben geschenkt. Bartosz, du musst dich retten.
Finally full-on confirmation that the...
Egon, du musst deine Vergangenheit erschaffen, den Stammbaum zu erhalten.
Egon's... What the But yeah, full confirmation. The one that Noah killed in the beginning of season 2 is Bartosz. Potentially his father.
Sie alle erfüllen ihr Schicksal.
What is happening here?
Celia und Agnes.
Celia.
Die Apokalypse in meiner Welt und die Apokalypse in deiner Welt.
I mean, Adam has the right goal in mind, but we kind of know that's kind of impossible.
Eine Maschine, die nicht nur Zeit, sondern auch Raum durchquert.
I don't think Adam knows about the unknown, does he? We never see him.
Dein Sohn existiert nur, weil es die Materie gibt.
Unless he knows and he's trying to prevent this still.
Es gibt keine Hoffnung.
Oh, wow. Completely nihilistic.
Wir sind falsch. Du und ich. In deiner Welt. Und in meiner.
And these words right here is going to... These are the words that will encourage Martha to think the other way around. Right? The sacrifices that he has to do.
Der Anfang ist das Ende. Und das Ende ist der Anfang.
He's here as well.
Muss auch in der anderen
Whoa!
Welt
Never
geschossen
mind. Wow.
Im Licht
And in
und
shadow.
im Schatten.
What is Egon going to do though? Right. Noah? No, himself. Wow. Stranger Martha is about to meet Stranger Jonas. And here we see the contraption that we saw underneath Sigmundus. Wow. Dude, the way that syncs up is so fucking good. The fact that the unknown were the ones that made sure the apocalypse happened in both timelines. The offsprings of both Adam and Eve. Of Martha and Jonas. The beginning and the end. No. Oh man. Oh, that is Egon's role. Okay. He's here to save Hannah. So there's potential that the baby is alive. That was great. And there you have it, Dark Season 3, Episode 6. And what a bombshell of an episode, I have to say. The immediate confirmation of two separate timelines, right? Not two different loops, but separate timelines within the same loop. That's the thing, though. It was such an interesting thing to hear Martha talked about it when she's talking to the other Marthas about like how the infinite loop works, where one timeline is in the outer line and then the other one is in the inner line. Like that is the, I guess, the approach or the explanation on how these two separate timelines can coexist and still be connected with one another, because at the end of the day, all of those lines, whether it is outside or inside, is still going to converge at the center, right? At the center of the infinite symbol. And I find that to be very fascinating. I mean, I kind of talked about that. Like, in a way, I don't want to say that I was right, but I'm like halfway there in terms of like deducing that whatever it is that is in the center of the infinite symbol or the time loop, that is the like the focal point, that is like the convergence point, that is like the point where things can diverge and change. And I still think that that is the point in time within the universe that essentially dictates where the story goes, right? Either the story goes to the direction where we are right now, which is Jonas traveling to a different world, or it's going to go to the Stranger Jonas route where nobody's going to pick him up. He's going to be there alone, and he's going to presumably, I am assuming that the Jonas that we saw encountering Claudia in the future in 2020 is that Jonas, right? It is the Stranger. I mean, we hear the theme of the Stranger during that exact moment, right? I love the detail of the Stranger's music, his theme song kind of slowly creeping in, because it's like you hear like the beginning, but it's very faint, and then you hear like the, I don't know how to describe it, but you hear like the crunchy, distorted sound effect of it, slowly, one by one, bit by bit. Like it's not continuous, but then once you slowly figure it out, once you slowly kind of piece together who this person actually is, because even Claudia is like questioning like, Jonas, you're alive. And we as an audience should also be questioning, Jonas is alive? But it's great that we actually got the confirmation in the very beginning of the episode. Stranger Jonas having these nightmares, these dreams of the past, right? These past memories. And sure enough, that is the answer that I've been looking for, right? How was Jonas able to do that? I mean, I was kind of thinking all over the place the last time we kind of talked about Dark, because the last time I talked or watched Dark was Jonas died, right? Jonas died. It's kind of like impossible to imagine how can Jonas die, but then the Stranger and Adam survives, right? What is up with that? And I guess this also kind of confirms that Adam, the Adam that we know of, is from the other world, right? Because the Stranger will eventually become Adam, unless our Jonas, because our Jonas is not going to be the Stranger. Like that is like full confirmation right here, or at least he's not going to become the same version of the Stranger. Every event that the Stranger has been through is the same as Jonas until that tipping point, right? Until that convergence on whether or not a Martha from a different world comes in and saves the day. From that point on moving forward, things are different. It explains why Stranger Jonas didn't remember anything about Martha. And I think this also explains why Adam is still trying to break the cycle, trying to break the time loop. Still, to this very day, up until the very end of this episode, right? That is his goal. Because he doesn't know. Now it's kind of dawning on me that the Jonas that we have been through this entire time, the Jonas that we have grown accustomed to, the Jonas that we have seen develop for seasons now, he's dead. Now I feel like there's no returning to that point. I don't think that's not going to be a possibility anymore. Because the thought of two different timelines, I never really registered that when I was making my theory last time. I was making the theory of they're gonna have to actually go back in time and actually fix this, and from then a separate timeline occurs. But nope, obviously not. That is not the case. So, shit. Our Jonas is actually dead. Like there's no, like he's not coming back from this. Like he is actually dead. And now, due to this information, now I'm kind of separating Jonas with the Stranger and Adam because they're like two different Jonas, because they're not the same characters anymore. I mean, they are, but like they're from two different timelines. As like whatever events that led the Stranger to become the Stranger and the Stranger to become Adam is not the events that our Jonas will ever go through, nor are there characters used to be our Jonas, if anything that I'm saying makes any sense. But you get what I'm saying, right? They're like essentially two different characters from the same timelines. But it's also, it's kind of hard to explain actually now that I'm thinking about it, because it's not like we are dealing with them being two different characters from two different worlds, right? No, because they're technically from the same world, but from a different timeline of that world. That just adds in another level of like, interesting. You know, speaking of the amount of layers and everything, this episode, you know, something that I do want to talk about season 3 as a whole is that I do feel like the pacing has been really fast. And I don't think it's a bad thing anymore. I kind of talked about like how things are progressing really fast for our characters, especially for like the developments of you know, Jonas and Martha, the other world Martha, for example, and all that stuff. But now, couple of episodes in, like we are 2 episodes left from the series finale. We are at episode 6 currently, right, out of 8. And looking at what this episode is trying to accomplish, right, looking at the amount of things that this episode is doing, and also just as kind of like a meta narrative or a meta way to make us feel that the show is going progressively fast, is that we are now given we are essentially living the same perspective, or we are traversing the same shoes or the same path as Otherworld Martha. She only has a day to save the world, right? She only has a day before the apocalypse hits. That is a short amount of time. From her getting roped into all of this when our Jonas appears in her world for the first time and spouted a lot of nonsense at her, and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. Get away from me." From that to immediately getting the bombshell reveal that, yeah, the apocalypse is happening, you're in a timeline, there's other versions of you, there's a you that is older, that is living in the desert, you have to make love with Jonas, and they didn't really say that you have to make love, but they kind of did that on their own. But still, all of that, and then also the realization that, yeah, there's gonna be a baby inside of you, and that baby is gonna be the unknown, and then the unknown is going to be like the ones who are kind of orchestrating behind the scenes, like kind of making sure that everything goes exactly as planned and all that stuff. Like the amount of sheer pressure and stress that is just thrown into Martha alone, and she is experiencing this in, like, I'm assuming a couple of days, and then when all of that is said and done, suddenly she sees Jonas die at the hands of herself, and then she has like a day before the apocalypse happens, and then she has to figure out what to do. Like, that is insane. It is mind-blowing. It is bonkers. And that is exactly how we should feel as well, because we are feeling exactly how Martha is feeling. We are like, we need to go. I get that we cannot stay here for long because there's a lot of shit that is about to happen and it sucks, but that's like the point. I kind of get it now. It's like the point. The feeling of wanting more from Dark Season 3 is exactly the feeling that Martha has. She wants more time. She doesn't have time. We wanted more time. I wanted more time with them, but I don't have time. None of us do. And it's this feeling of we could have spent more time with them, but we cannot. And that is the gravity of the situation. That is the conflict that we are trying to essentially figure out a way out, right? We want that time. That is exactly what Martha and Jonas is trying to accomplish. They want more time. They want all of this to stop so that they can actually live their lives together. I'm enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this. I feel like I'm starting to understand why Dark Season 3 is structured like this, because beforehand, like I said, like it was the smallest criticism that I can give for Dark Season 3 at the time, which is it feels like they are ramping up way too fast because we are reintroducing a lot of these characters, and they're like redoing all of the plot beats of seasons 1 and 2, but in like quick succession. Like, yeah, I mean, of course we know this is gonna happen, we know that is gonna happen, we know the things about Helge, we know the things about Ulrich, like we can kind of piece together like what may happen. It may happen differently, but like it will still happen nonetheless, just like how it happens in seasons 1 and 2, right? So really, there's really no point in rehashing and redoing it all in length, right? Like we already know, we can just fill in the gap. We can just fill in the gaps. That's fine. And this episode specifically kind of solidified that fact, kind of solidified that feeling for me. This show is great. I know this review is gonna get, it's gonna be a bit like all over the place, but man, that part in very end when we finally get to see the unknown traveling between the two timelines, not timelines, between the two time worlds, between the two worlds. There's two different worlds, and then there's two different timelines, but they're all in the same loop, right? Because eventually whatever happens, because I mean we are currently living in the convergence, right? A Jonas from a different timeline, which is a stranger, has communicated with a Jonas from our timeline, which is a different timeline from that virgin, right? But anyways, I love the visuals, and also like the straight up chills that I had when the unknown actually ventures into those two different worlds, and they are the ones who kind of orchestrated and make sure that everything goes exactly as planned. Like, yep, we are making sure that the apocalypse happen. We are making sure that we survive. And speaking of them surviving, how about that? Huh? How about the ending of the show? The episode. Adam still believing that he can break the curse, that he can still break the cycle, that he can still break the loop. And he does it by trying to kill the baby, right? So Adam has an idea. Adam has an idea that the baby that is within Martha is going to be the catalyst, or at least a catalyst, right? It is the convergence, right? It is the convergence of two worlds becoming one, right? And he wants to stop that. If the unknown doesn't exist, then none of this could happen, right? I mean, we talked about this before. The characters have talked about it before. Martha has said it before. Jonas and Martha having sex and having that really intimate moment an episode ago. That is the convergence, right? That is the point, right? I'm not talking about like the point in which the convergence of two timelines, because that is when Martha arrives into Jonas's house when Martha dies. No, I'm talking about the convergence and the birth of basically every family in the entire show, right? That is why we have the family tree all converging into infinity, and infinity is the unknown. So Adam still thinks that he can solve it. I don't think Adam actually knows that the unknown exists. I don't know about that just yet. I don't think that's information. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, by the time this video is out, I probably already finished the show, so not really worth correcting me on that. But he doesn't know. I don't think Adam has a full idea on what is going on, or in a much more simpler way, Eva is one step ahead of Adam in this regard. I mean, Eva already has an entire army ready, right? She has Bartosz, she has Egon, who survives, who is alive. She has, Claudia and everybody else. She has the whole gang, almost the whole gang, basically. And she's telling them to, like, go, do the right thing, save the important people, and you look at Adam. Adam is only working with like a ragtag team of like people who are broken, and how is it going to backfire? Because obviously whatever plans that Adam has is going to fail. The unknown is still going to be alive, right? I mean, we see the unknown. The time loop still persists. The time loop is here. You cannot change this. You cannot change the determinism. I don't know how to sentence this right, but you cannot change what was already determined. But Adam is still trying to do that. It kind of goes to show like how much of Jonas is still within Adam in terms of like his perseverance and his almost enslavement to the idea of, yeah, I can break the cycle. I can break the cycle. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. It's been 33, 66 years. Still, nothing has changed. And why is this going to be any different? Adam doesn't know yet. He cannot see the future. There is no future Adam. Adam is currently living in his present. And I fear that whatever Adam is doing with the God particle that is seemingly trying to kill the baby, or inflict enough damage to make sure that the baby doesn't be isn't alive. But as always, as usual, if a character wants to stop something, they will be the cause of it. That's usually the case with Dark. That's kind of like the structure of it at this point. That's like the formula. Claudia wants to save Egon, ends up killing Egon. How is this going to be any different? Obviously, there's going to be... well, first of all, obviously, it's going to fail, because the unknown is alive and well. But how is the God particle going to affect him, though? That is the question. Alright, that's my review of Dark Season 3, Episode 6. Gonna cut this off a bit shorter than usual. I could talk a bit for much longer, but kind of pressed for time, and I'm trying to condense the review and the discussion portion as much as possible. I don't want it to be fully bloated, but I'm trying my best to essentially contain as much information that I can for the discussion. The reason why I'm trying to make sure that I'm not gonna go too long, because otherwise I'm gonna be wasting a lot of time on the discussion, and I could be using those times to react more and you know, to edit and such. So that's one of the reasons. So hope you guys still enjoy my review and my discussion. If you do, hit like, subscribe, share your comments and your opinions on the episode down below. Now, I'll see you all next time. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Peace.